Would you cut the last rope? One swing could free the ship, one swing could bury him. This is Soren's story. The desert doesn't forgive, it just waits. Soren knew the sand like some men know the sea. He knew its weight. He built it here, in the middle of nowhere, a full-size ship on wooden rollers. It stood there for years. They called him Master. They thought he was smart. They thought he was safe. Master Soren, a king of a yard with no water. Brine hook, no salt water for 300 miles, just iron dust and a wind that felt like sandpaper. He chased perfection like it was a debt. He shaved edges no one would see. He wanted a ship no one could question. But Soren flinched at the word water. He wouldn't even drink from a full glass. He stayed inland to stay alive. The men on the floor noticed. They saw how he avoided the quarry. They saw the fear in his dry eyes. Then there were the letters, always the same stamp. They arrived like a heartbeat. Soren would freeze at the gull. He told the crew it was junk. Then he'd burn them. He thought fire was an eraser. It wasn't. Memory doesn't burn. Hale ran the floor. Big hands, soft voice. He smelled the smoke. He said nothing, but his silence was a question. The boy came back. He held his jar. He looked at the ship, then at Soren. The jar was the only test that mattered. He poured it out, a cup of water against 1,000 tons of wood. Soren watched it like it was a flood. Does it float? Soren's world was dry math. Water was chaos. He set the jar down slowly. Go home, he said. The boy left. The fear stayed. Everything changed with Merrick. He smelled of salt and cigars. He wasn't there for a ship. He was there for a contract. Merrick represented Ocean Line. They wanted the biggest, fastest ship. They brought a fortune and a deadly deadline. Soren signed without blinking. Hale watched the pen move. He knew Soren was signing away his peace. The deal was done. The yard exploded. Hammers hit faster. Soren was everywhere, correcting angles with a knife. He was building fear into wood. Men slept in the shavings. Soren walked the floor at all hours. He was losing his mind to the grain of the wood. One day, a worker slipped. He fell. Everything stopped. The sound of wood cracking echoed like a gunshot. Soren rushed in. Soren froze, a memory of another fall, another ocean. Hale took control. Soren just stood there, a master who couldn't lead. The crew stared. They didn't blame him, but they didn't trust him. Soren hated that distance more than any insult. Another letter arrived. He didn't burn it. He broke the seal. He read his sister's words. For the first time in 20 years, the master wept. The letter listed ships, routes, cargo, crew, and the survivors. Then a dented brass compass fell out, his father's compass. Soren held the metal. He knew that notch. Why burn her letters? Hale asked. Because if I read them, I have to change. The crane failed. The ship was too heavy. Fear was built into the joints. Rail leaves tomorrow, Merrick hissed. Soren stayed still. Soren looked at the trap. He saw the lives Merrick's ships had cost. I deliver, he said. But he wasn't talking about the contract. The quarry, Soren ordered. The crew moved. They dragged the ship through the town, a desert ship heading for black water. The water was patient. It didn't care about math or gold. It only cared about weight. Soren signaled, "Let it go." The ship touched the water. Then it rolled. The weight above pulled it down. It was a cage and it was drowning. Now you know. Relief. Ugly, clean relief. The lie was over. You ruined it, Merrick shouted. No, Soren said. I saved people I will never meet. The crew stayed. They didn't ask for pay. Soren drew new lines, lower, lighter, smarter. They cut through the night for the future. He stopped chasing perfection and started chasing balance. Every board removed was a weight off his soul. The ship got honest. A week later, Soren boarded a train. He had a bag and his father's compass. He watched the land change. Dust turned to grass. He was going home. The station smelled like salt. It hit his face. He followed the gulls. He saw a woman on the pier. Salt dried white on her sleeves. Lisa, I burned them, Soren said. Lisa's eyes tightened. Sorry doesn't raise ships. Come. They rowed out into the vast sea. The sea opened around them. Not pretty, just vast. Soren sat stiff as waves lifted the boat. Lisa pointed. Those mark your last. You built against the sea. You never built with it. Soren touched the wood. He'd spent his life building cages. The sea just was. He started over. Mistakes were lessons. He learned that wood needs to move. He didn't die from the salt. He lived. Weeks passed. Hale wrote back. The men are still here. Soren held that paper like gold. He'd found a crew. He started building for the men and the boy. He went to the shore. The wave lifted the toy boat. It stayed true. Soren watched it disappear. He was ready for the real one. The ship arrived. Not a trophy, but a question. Tom looked at the ocean. His mouth fell open. Soren heard the waves. Now they were real. The last rope was tied. Soren's hand hovered. The crew was silent. Does it float? Tom whispered. Soren smiled. We'll see. He let go. The ship caught the water. It partnered. It stayed true. Tom cheered. Hale exhaled. Soren just watched. He was a builder, and he was home. He stopped building in the dark. He started asking before he shipped. Some days he woke up scared, but he let the sea be bigger than him. The sea asked one question, not are you proud, just are you ready? Some chances don't wait for perfect. They just need a man who floats. The horizon promised nothing. It just stayed honest. Are you ready to let go of the rope, to meet the sea, to finally float?